I woke up this morning, could not go back to sleep, and I was checking my videos and my lives that I had. And the live that I did for yesterday disappeared. I don't know what happened to it. It was online yesterday. I checked it. I knew it was there. I was having trouble uploading two other videos last night. And then when I checked this morning, my other two videos were up and running, but the live that I did yesterday was gone. So, don't know what happened to that, but I know I was online yesterday for 2 hours live. And I don't know what happened to the live video because it's disappeared. So, I don't know. And I wanted to make sure that the live we're on right now had the replay, the chat replay on, but I'm not sure it does. Because the last couple of times I've done my lives, I have not had anybody in. You can't view the chat replay. And I know I've turned it on every time, so I don't know what the deal is. So, I don't know about all that. I'll be right back. I got to go get my phone. But I hated that because, you do a 2 hour live video just to have it disappear on you. That means nobody else can view it. So, I don't know. It's kind of crazy. What am I doing? I was trying to get my chat up for YouTube. Don't want to sign in. I'm already signed in. I just want to bring it up on the screen. So if someone comes in, I'll have a screen that I can view the chat on. There it is right there. I'm not with it, y'all, this morning. I'm I'm still half asleep. Yeah, at least I got that message sent. Oh, yeah. I'm not awake good yet. I worked a lot in the garden yesterday. Got really hot. So I was really tired last night. The lighting is not very good in here this morning. Looks better on the camera than it does on the screen. But don't believe it, I got 4 people in here already. I didn't expect to even get anyone. But if you were in my live yesterday, the 4 people that are watching, for some reason my live video, the replay of it disappeared. It was online last night, and I was having trouble uploading 2 other videos that I posted. And for some reason, my live disappeared. I guess that live video must have been why my computer was having some kind of problem uploading my other 2 videos, because it took forever. And I had to delete one of the videos out and then re-upload it before it would ever upload. And then, like I said, I got up this morning and my live was gone. So the live from yesterday has disappeared. Don't ask me where it's gone. I'm up to 6 now. So get you a cup of coffee. Wait a little bit. Maybe some people will get in here. I messaged Bloomin', but I don't know if she's awake. So, if she comes to the live, that's okay. And if she doesn't, that's okay too. So, one thing I forgot to do was put my laptop up higher, so I don't have to just constantly look at the there. That's a little bit better. At least now maybe when I read the chat, I won't be looking away from the camera. I look terrible this morning. I just got out of bed. Did brush my hair a little bit, but I'm still half asleep. I'm still wiped out from the yesterday's heat that I was out in the garden. So y'all just have to overlook that. But I was watching Steven's video yesterday when Tammy started home, and she got a phone call telling her about Colton, the accident. And I was really worried about that because she was so upset. I knew something bad, really bad, happened. It wasn't just a simple little accident. Oh, Bloomin', I see you're here. Okay. Yeah, I hadn't planned to do this, but like I was telling everybody, my live video from yesterday has disappeared. I don't know what happened to it. I had trouble uploading 2 other videos yesterday. One took forever. So I finally last night deleted it out, uploaded it again before it finally would upload for me. And the only problem is it didn't do it right then. But this morning when I got up and checked my videos, my live from yesterday had disappeared. So that live must have had something to do with the problem I was having uploaded the other videos. It was causing some kind of problem in there. It was not, I don't know what the deal was. But anyway, that video it just disappeared. So yesterday, I don't get any more credit for having that video. So I wanted to get on here and do another one to make up for it. Plus, I wanted to discuss the accident with Colton. I was up late last night, and I knew Tammy would come back online as soon as she could and let everybody know what was going on with Colton. Well, unfortunately, Colton did not make it. And my heart goes out to the whole family. A 12-year-old to be lost in a boating accident. I mean, that's just so unreal to me. I mean, you don't ever think you're going to lose a child, but it does happen. And you never know. You just never know when your day's coming, whether you're a child or whether you're an adult. But my heart does go out to them. I wanted to give my condolences to the family. I know it's a bad time right now, and I know every Father's Day they're going to remember what happened. Just like my sister-in-law passed away Christmas Eve morning. And unfortunately, every year now on Christmas Eve, the family's going to remember what took place a year ago. So it's just really bad. Yeah, it's bad for them. I mean, I just can't imagine. But I wanted to get on here and just give my condolences to the family. It's heartbreaking. And I think Tammy did say that Colton's dad was injured. Evidently his injuries were not serious. She said he was limping. So I assume he hurt his back or his legs or, something like that. But yeah, it's terrible. And I know they mentioned it to Stephen on his live this morning. And it was hard for him to talk about it. And he tried to avoid talking about it. But, and that's understandable. I mean, it's too close. It happened. I mean, it's still fresh in their memories, their pain, what the pain that they're experiencing and everything. So, yeah, I can understand that he really didn't want to talk about it. So, and he was even trying to go completely the opposite way. He was trying to joke more and, laugh about things more, seemed like this morning than usual. And I think it was because he was trying to uplift himself and get himself in a better frame of mind rather than dwell on Colton, because he wouldn't have been able to do his live if he had. We got Pinky in this morning. Well, good morning, Pinky. But I also wanted to wish all the dads out there happy Father's Day. I don't know if you saw any of my videos from yesterday, but I did get my shade cloth up. I put 2 more small shade cloths on either side of the arbor. I did another video because I had just got the insecticide that I was going to put on the garden. I had just gotten that. So I wanted people to see what I was doing it with to try to save my garden. So if they wanted to try to do the same thing, they could. Because every day matters when you've got worms and bugs attacking your plants. If you can do anything about it, you want to do it as soon as possible because you don't want to lose your garden. But anyway, I did find a remedy, and it's something really close to what I used years ago that they discontinued and I couldn't find, and it was a Bear product. It was made especially for just your vegetable garden, and it worked fantastic every year. I never had a problem with squash bugs. What do you call them? Oh, heck. The name of them just kind of like flew out of my mind. It's too early. Well, yeah, any type of insecticide is poisonous, but it's formulated in a way that when it goes through the plants and you pick your fruit later, it's not going to harm you. That will basically be gone because it tells you in the instructions when you use it to wait 5 or 6 days before you harvest any vegetable from your garden. So my advice to anyone that's going to use that or anything similar to it would be to harvest your vegetables first if you have anything to harvest, and then water them with that insecticide because it's absorbed up through the roots. It gets up into the plant, the leaves and everything, and it repels the insects and the hornworms off your tomato plants and the squash bugs and the worms that get in them and all that. So it tells you to wait, I think it's 5 or 6 days after applying that insecticide before you harvest your fruit. I mean, you don't want to put that insecticide on today and go out tomorrow or the next day and pick a cucumber because it may have that insecticide in it. You want to wait 5 or 6 days. and then it's okay. You don't have to worry about it. So I went ahead and picked what beans or anything I had yesterday that I knew I could pick, harvest before I put the insecticide on. And then I went ahead and tried to put it on every plant that I've got in my garden. I didn't quite get it to all of them, but I'll do the rest of that later on today, maybe this evening when it cools off. But yeah, you put it to peppers, everything, because those mites will eat holes in your pepper plant, the leaves, and eventually kill your plant if you don't do something about it. I'm trying to read the chat, y'all. Well, good. Yeah, I never had a problem with squash bugs, those hornworms on your tomato plants, or any of that stuff until I couldn't get that insecticide anymore. I'd go to the store to buy it, and they had every other kind up there that was a Bear product, but they didn't have that. And one of the sales reps told me, oh, they discontinued that. You can't get it anymore. So I finally found this, which is a substitute, I guess, for what I had. And one of my viewers said that the kind that I got, the bio whatever it was, I don't remember, but they said that was the new name of Bear. So it's supposed to be basically the same product, I guess. They just changed the name on it. No, it wears off, and it I don't know how you could say it. It's almost like it's evaporated, or I don't know how to explain it, but it's almost like it's evaporated out of the plant after 5 or 6 days, so you don't have to worry about it. I never had a problem with it. I mean, I'd wait the 5 or 6 days before I harvested any of my squash or any of my other vegetables, and I never had a problem with it. So I don't think you'd have to worry about that. Yeah, that 7 dust works real good, and I've used that sometimes. But you can get a 7 dust. Well, it's called 7 dust, but it's a liquid concentrate that you put on your plants just the same way that I did this other insecticide. You mix it with water, and you basically just water your plants with it. And that was my next option. If I had not found what I did and ordered it, the next option was to get the 7 Dust brand and use that concentrate. The only thing I don't like about the 7 Dust, if the wind blows it off your plant or it rains after you put it on, it washes it off and you got to reapply it. Gladys, I'm pretty good this morning. I just woke up. I couldn't sleep for some reason. I woke up early, and I was checking my videos and saw that my whole live video from yesterday disappeared off of my website, my channel. I don't know what happened to it. So nobody will be able to view it now. It's gone. I had trouble uploading 2 other videos yesterday. One that I got uploaded and posted way after midnight, and something was wrong, so I deleted that video out and re-uploaded it, and then it went through. But in the process of all that, evidently it was that live video processing that caused the problem. And I didn't delete the live, but when I got up this morning and checked my channel, that live was completely gone. So I don't know what happened there. You just saw my video, Gladys? Okay. Oh, you're afraid to use the liquid? But I've used it for years, like I said, and I never had any problem with my garden. I didn't have any problem eating any of the fruit as long as I waited the 5 or 6 days before I harvested anything, or harvest what is ready before you apply it, wait your 5 or 6 days, and then if you have anything else that's ready to be harvested, harvest it then. Because that's exactly the type of insecticide these companies use that grow vegetables for market and they put in the grocery store, like the cabbages and all that you buy. They have to put the liquid insecticide because they don't want little bug holes in leaves. They don't want worms in the cabbages they sell. So they have to use the liquid insecticide. So anytime you're buying vegetables out of the store, you're buying vegetables that they use that on. Yeah, Blooming's not been feeling too good here lately that I've noticed. I've noticed she's had a lot of downtime, and I hope she gets to feeling a lot better. Yeah, so far this year, without using some type of an insecticide on my plants, I've already gotten 2 hornworms off of 2 different tomato plants. And unfortunately, a lot of times you don't see them until after they've almost devoured half your plant. You still have some from last year? Yeah, pray for Blooming. She's not been feeling good. You just got back and my yesterday's live is still there? Well, I saw one, but it wasn't the live that I had posted. I've got two videos that were there, but I couldn't find the live, so I don't know. Let me see if I can bring it up. Because I had already tried to bring it up this morning and I couldn't find it. And I've got to change that thumbnail picture of me this morning because that looks terrible. Well, what's going on here? Well, I see, oh, I guess there is. It is there. I saw that and I didn't. Only $2.12. I didn't realize that that was it. Because I know I posted two videos. One on the shade cloth. One on the insecticide. And then the live. So. Well, hopefully it stays there. Hopefully it doesn't disappear. Because that scared me. I said, well, what kind of funky stuff is my computer doing, you know? Okay. Well, thanks for letting me know because I looked for it this morning and I couldn't find it. Even on my section in YouTube, you know, where I go to create my lives and all that stuff, I didn't see it. So it had me worried. I said, well, what else is going to disappear? You know? Be wasting my time making videos and posting them and then all of a sudden they're gone. Oh man, I needed a double cup of coffee this morning. Not today, I don't. I look terrible. I look drained because of being out in the heat yesterday. I don't have any color in my face. It's like we got 12 in here this morning. And without giving anybody any warning, hey, 12 people showing up is pretty good, I think. And I'm getting this from Danny Hodges because I know that he's been going live just at the spur of the moment, all different times of the day and night. And I think he just did it because he wanted to see the response he would get, by doing that. So I figured, well, hey, I'm going to try that and see how it works. Have y'all got a good Father's Day plan? I don't have anything planned because my dad is not with us anymore, so I can't wish him a happy Father's Day or do anything. I don't know what my son is going to do. He's a dad, but he's not my dad, so. Well, the doctors tell me that I need to sweat because when they misdiagnosed me with cancer, they not only did surgery to remove the lump that I had, which was not cancerous, but they removed 22 lymph nodes out of that side, on my left side that they did the surgery on. So that means my left arm holds a lot of that fluid. That fluid drains into my body from those lymph nodes that were removed. And they tell you to sweat as much as possible to keep that stuff sweated out of your body, out of your system. And me, for one, I've tried it. I don't like it and I can't do it. And that's to go to a sauna. I joined a health club one year, kind of to where I could use their swimming pool because I could go in the wintertime. It was indoors, and use their sauna. And I tried the sauna a couple of times and I hated it. I mean, you get in this little box and you sit down and you sweat and you're just sitting there, and I'm bored to death and I have claustrophobia to a certain point. And here I am sitting in this little bitty sweat box, all closed in, and I couldn't handle it. I said, this is crazy. I'll just get in my yard and do something, and I'll just be careful and I'll sweat in my yard. I can walk around my yard and I can sweat. I don't have to pay someone to be able to sweat. So that's one reason I don't mind getting out in my yard in the heat and, sweating, because I need to sweat. It cleans out all that stuff that builds up in my body from those lymph nodes being gone. And you can look at my arm sometime, my left arm, it'll be a little bit swollen because it's holding that fluid that drains back in my body from where they took the lymph nodes out. Yeah, it's sad with all the people that their dads and maybe husbands are no longer with us. But I didn't realize it, but it was 104 the other day. I was out in the yard trying to do something. I don't remember now exactly what it was, but I said, it's too hot out here. And I was thinking it was like 90 degrees. And I came in the house to cool off to where I could go back out and finish what I had started. And I checked the temperature, and it was already 103. I said, my God, no wonder I was hot. And the high that day was 104. So we've already had over 100-degree temperatures here, and we're going to have more of it this week. So yeah, well, I was diagnosed with stage 4 invasive ductal carcinoma, if any of you know what that is. And they gave me 3 years to live. I started going through chemo. I went through surgery. just to find out after my surgery, when I went in for my 5 or 6 weeks checkup, my doctor sat me, or my surgeon sat me down, and she says, "We got to talk." She said, "You don't have cancer. You never had cancer. It was fibrocystic cysts." And that's what I told them to begin with, that it was. But, the doctors didn't want to take my word for it. Who am I? And, but they had already done the surgery. They had already taken out 22 lymph nodes. They had already put me through months and months of chemo where I lost my hair. So my hair had to grow back, and I went through so many different stages of hair growth you would not believe. It came back so kinky, curly, and frizzy, you could just hang a comb in your hair. That's how bad it was. It came back snow or fluorescent white. I mean, you could not believe the bright white it was. It was beyond gray. But over a period of time, it kept growing out and kept growing out. I'd keep it trimmed off, and it finally started getting dark hair back in it. So then it ended up kind of like peppered, like half gray, half the dark hair that I normally had. And I left it that way for a long time. I'd keep it trimmed or cut it short. And I kept it just kind of peppered gray and my dark color for quite a while. And then I got tired of it, and I started dyeing it again. And then I went through phases of all different colors, from auburn to light brown to dark brown to platinum blonde, you name it. I've been all over the place with browns and blacks and blonde. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but misdiagnosis happens. The unfortunate thing is I kept telling them before my surgery that I did not have cancer, that it was fibrocystic cysts. My mom had them. They didn't believe me. They wouldn't take my word for it. They said, no, the biopsy said you have stage 4 ductal carcinoma, invasive ductal carcinoma. Well, it never showed up in my blood. And anybody with a stage 4 cancer should have some signs in their blood that they've got cancer. I never had anything in my blood that indicated any cancer. So I never had it. But yet I had to go through all that, and it changed my life. You are never the same after going through that. Never. I mean, they made me gain. Usually people lose a lot of weight when they go through chemo and all that treatment. But my doctor made me gain weight. She gave me something that started putting weight on me, because I was real tiny. And I've never been able to lose that weight. And finally, I just says, the heck with it. I'm not worrying about it. If I want something, I'm going to eat it. So I do. No, I've still got about half of that banana pudding in my refrigerator, right along with half of that pineapple upside down cake that I got to throw out. I mean, I've got to put in the compost pile. I keep saying I'm going to get it out of the refrigerator and put it in the compost bin, and I get busy doing other stuff and I forget to do it. Well, thank you, Gladys. It's life. Mistakes happen. Misdiagnosis happens every day. That's the reason I always advise people, if I ever talk to them, is to don't settle with that first opinion. If you're diagnosed with something really serious, always get a second or third opinion. And your doctor doesn't mind you doing that. When I was first diagnosed with my neck and my back injury and knew I was going to have 2 different surgeries, I went and got a second and third opinion before I agreed to surgery. It was not that I didn't trust my doctor, but there's a lot of other people involved in surgeries and treatments and all this stuff. And I said, I just want another opinion. And they said, sure, that's fine. So I got the other opinions, and they 100% agreed with my first doctor. So I went and had my surgeries. But this time, when they diagnosed me with the stage 4 inductal or invasive ductal carcinoma, I I figured, well, there's no need to get second and third opinions. I went through that with my back injury, and I didn't really need to do it. So I figured, well, it'd be okay this time. I didn't need the second and third opinions. But later I found out, yes, I did need those opinions. And if I'd have gotten a second or third opinion, it may have saved me going through surgery and chemo and all that I did not need. So you live and learn. It's so bad you had to go through all that and end up with not having cancer. Well, I thank God every day that I didn't have cancer, because that oncologist, she wanted to put me through a whole year after my surgeries of what she called preventative treatment, preventative chemo. And this was after I was already told I didn't have cancer. And I looked at her and I said, well, tell me something. I said, do you want to go through a year of preventative chemo treatments? She says, no, because I don't have cancer. I looked at her and I said, well, I don't either. And that was all I said. And I did not take any more treatments. Yeah, you live and learn for sure every day. Because once you go through chemo, it wipes out your immune system. You can't go anywhere. If you do, you're going to get sick. You can just be in a crowd of people and come home and you're sick. So the only place I really got out to go during that time was to the store to buy groceries once in a while, and I tried to put it off as much as possible and go the least amount of times as possible. And I went to the doctor, and that was it. I didn't go anywhere else. I stayed home. And that's why I started taking so many vitamins and things that I take, was purposely to build up my immune system. And the doctors never told me to even do that. They were just going to let me stay with a broken down immune system and never build it up. But I did that on my own. You love my laugh? Well, you know what? I've learned to laugh about a lot of things in life at my age. Sometimes you have to laugh to get you through the day, no matter what it is. Thank you, Pinky. I'll take that as a compliment. Good morning, Ashley. I'm so happy you could join us. We got Jody here, Bloomin', Gladys, Pinky, Ashley. I've got Tuman. I'm not sure I pronounced that correctly. Welcome. I can't pronounce any of that name. I'm not sure. It's like Truman without an R. Tuman. Yeah, you got to laugh at life sometimes just to get through. My allergies. Ugh. Working in the yard, I not only sweat, but I get all this pollen in my eyes. And then when I go to bed at night, even though I take a shower, some of that pollen is still left in my eyes. And when I get up the next morning, my eyes are just all like glued shut from all that pollen, my allergies. Yeah, I was even wondering if Stephen was going to have his live coffee with Stephen show this morning. But like I said, I woke up, couldn't go back to sleep, so I grabbed my phone and got on YouTube with it and listened to his live this morning. He had two of his kids there with him. I think he said Katie was coming at lunchtime, and I guess they're going to go out and get a steak or something for Father's Day. But it seemed like they spent the night with him last night. Phoebe and I don't know what his son, I forgot what he said his son's name was. But they were with him this morning. You could hear him giggling in the background as he was being funny. Like, he was being Stephen. Oh, I'm so sorry, Jody. You never got to celebrate a Father's Day because you picked a loser. Unfortunately, we've got those out there. And it's bad. Eric, yeah, I remember him saying Eric, but I had forgotten. Just that quick, I forgot what his son's name was. It's Eric. Yeah, but he was making more jokes than usual this morning, and I know it was because of Colton. He was trying to uplift everybody around him and himself by being funny. And you could hear him giggling, laughing at him in the background as he was on live. They never would show on camera. Later in the video, you could see one of, I guess it was Katie or Phoebe's feet with their little slippers on. Yep, life goes on, Pinky. You can't just sit down and give up no matter what happens. I mean, you got to deal with it, put it in its place, and continue on with life. Well, that's great, Jody. You got a phenomenal dad. Yeah, we will pray for him in his cancer battles. Sorry to hear that. It'd be nice if my dad was still alive. My mom and dad both are not with us anymore. So I think about her, especially every Mother's Day, and think about Dad on Father's Day. Yep, Stephen and Tammy, all the family, they need to be on everybody's prayer list for God just to uplift them. My mom was 86 years old when she passed away. She wasn't sick or anything like that, but she had a slow-growing brain tumor, and it was like right behind the bone here of her skull. And they did a surgery on it. She was fine for a while until it grew big enough again that it was causing a problem. She went back in, had another surgery on it, and it was a lot for her to go through. I mean, they cut her from up here all the way down to her ear in her hairline to remove that tumor twice. And she had to go through several months of rehab after that, of not being at home, but in a rehab center. And she hated it. And I don't blame her. And that last time that they wanted to do surgery, she refused. She said, I'm not going through that again. I said, well, Mom, if you don't, you're going to die. She said, well, I'm tired of being here anyway. Because my dad was already gone. She missed my dad. But like I said, she refused surgery. And finally, she got to the point where she couldn't walk. And then she was bedridden. She couldn't eat. Because with that tumor where it was, and part of it embedded in her brain, it was affecting all of her motor skills. She couldn't eat anymore. So she just basically laid in the bed and died. They had hospice coming to see her every day and that type of thing. And I hated it, but I couldn't force my mom to have surgery. It was her decision. And I knew if it was probably me, I would not have wanted to keep going through that time after time after time. Because there was always part of it that they couldn't get. The part that was growing down deep in her brain. They could not go in there and cut that out, because if they had, they would have cut out a lot of her motor skills. She probably would not have been able to walk. She may not have been able to talk or eat. So they said, they could take out what part of it they could, but there was always some of it that was going to be left, because they'd have to take out part of the brain to get all of it. And they didn't want to do that. But anyway, it was her decision. She passed away at 86 years old, and that was young. I mean, a lot of people nowadays live to be 90s and even 100. And my mom should have certainly been one of those, but because she was a sweet person. My dad too. But unfortunately, life had a different plan. And I know in my heart she's with my dad. They're together. So that puts my mind at ease. A couple of years ago, I hadn't been home in a couple of years, and this was after my parents were gone. And all of a sudden, I just felt this urge that I've got to go home. I got to go see family. I got to go home. I just felt this, attraction that was telling me that I need to go. And I went, and one of the things I went and did while I was there was visit my parents' grave. And do you know, when I got there, just all of a sudden peace and relaxation just came over me, and I was at peace of mind. And after that, I didn't feel the urge that I had to go back again. So I don't know what that was all about, but it was strange. It's almost like their souls were there and they couldn't cross over until I visited their grave and they could say goodbye or something. It was just weird. But, I've not felt that urge again. I just had peace of mind. I relaxed. Just a wave of contentment came over me. I knew they were okay. They were together. And I came home after that, and I, didn't worry about it anymore. What hair color do I like best on my hair? Well, the natural hair color of my hair is a dark brown. So I tried to keep it dyed a dark brown for a long, long time, and it was so hard. Because you know how you get the white roots? Those little gray roots showing every 2 weeks or so. And it just got hard. And I do my own hair. And I got tired of splattering that dark brown hair dye all over the bathroom when I was trying to use it. So I started going to lighter colors. And now I've ended up with whatever color I got right now. I don't know what you call it. It's kind of a light blonde or a light brown. Yeah, but I've been from red to black to dark brown to light brown to auburn, platinum blonde, dark blonde, you name it. The color that I probably would like the best on my hair, if it would stay and I did not have to dye it, is the natural brown. Pinky, you're having your knees replaced, or you? So bad I walk with a cane. I have the little times. Well, what happened that you didn't have surgeries yet? Can they not get you scheduled, or what's the deal? My ex-husband had to have surgery on both his knees, and he fell after that and injured his hip or his knee or something later, and they said that they could not do another surgery on it to fix it. So now he's walking with a walker. Mine got gray all in second. My second born tells me to dye it. I told him no. Well, hey, if you don't want to dye your hair, don't dye it. I've been thinking about letting mine go back, the gray and what little bit of dark brown is still left, and not worrying about dyeing it myself, because I'm getting kind of tired of doing it so much. Yeah, my ex has to walk with a walker, and he'll probably have to use that walker the rest of his life, because after he re-injured his knees, after he did the knee replacement, they said they couldn't, it was inoperable now. There's nothing they could do to repair the damage where he fell. And so he's got to use a walker to walk around. But thank God he's still able to walk. He was 8 years older than me. And I think I told some of you that he won that St. Jude lottery in North Carolina. He buys one ticket every year because it helps the kids, the children that go through St. Jude's Hospital. So he buys $100 ticket every year. And he'd been doing it for many, many years. And he was watching TV one night to see who the winner was. Well, he didn't have any idea on anything, because there was like the first prize was the house, second prize was a car, then you had a third and fourth prize. Well, he was sitting there, and all of a sudden they said, and our grand prize winner is Ben Hauser from Vail, North Carolina. He said he almost fell out of the chair. He won that $500,000 home. And the home was in Monroe, North Carolina. It's not too far from where he lives. But he said he wouldn't move to Monroe for the house. So after he got everything straightened out and got the paperwork in his name, he put the house up on the market. And do you know the first customers that came to look at that house bought it? It was a young couple that looked at it. And I said, well, you wouldn't have any problem selling it because of the advertising that you got from it being the prize in that lottery drawing. I said people would, that would be one of the selling points right there. People will want it just for the nostalgia that it was the prize in the lottery. It was a beautiful home. You can look up his name, Ben Hauser, lottery winner or something like that, and it'll bring up the video that the television station recorded of him and his sister and friends coming to that house to see the house after he won it. I tell you, I found, unfortunately, a lot of these surgeons and doctors and therapists, and especially in these big hospitals like a cancer center, they're real anxious to use that equipment. Because guess what? That equipment costs a lot of money. They got to have patients to charge for treatments to help pay for that equipment. And I don't want to be one of them anymore. If I don't need surgery, I don't want surgery. If I don't need chemo, I don't want surgery. I don't want to go in and have them give me chemo for a year just to help pay for equipment. And one of the techs I talked to about a year or so later, I went in for a mammogram, and you know what she said when I talked to her about it? She said, well, unfortunately, we were told in nursing school when we first started that about 9 out of every 10 diagnosis is wrong. That number is too high for me. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Your pain meds make you sick. Yeah, I said, he called me and told me about it, and he was afraid he wasn't going to have any money by the time because he had to come up with I think it was $148,000, he said, to pay those people before they'd ever sign the title over to him, to that house. And that was prize winning fees and God knows what all. Well, he didn't have that much money, behind him. So what he didn't have, he had to borrow from friends, family, bank, whatever. And he said, well, I'm afraid by the time I pay the realtor to sell the house, I pay the attorney to handle all the legal work of winning the money and all the aspects of it. And then by the time I paid the bank back, my friends back, everybody back that paid, loaned me money, he said, I'm not going to have very much. I said, if that house is worth $500,000 and you sell it for anywhere close to that, you're going to have a couple of $1,000s to the good in your bank account left. I mean, let's face it. Even if he paid $200,000 in fees and money back that he borrowed, he's still going to have about $300,000 to put in his bank. I'd take it. Yeah, I bet I don't ever see any of it. He's got all kind of friends and family piled in on him now because he's got all that money. I mean, he owned a big farm and a house, really nice house that belonged to his parents because he inherited it when they died. So he was not rich, but he was comfortably off, So it wouldn't have hurt him if he had not won. It doesn't hurt to win, though. I would have taken the money. Well, you know what? I found ibuprofen on the counter that I can just buy at the store. Works better than what the doctor gave me for pain for my back. Because I take that stuff they gave me. It was ibuprofen with some kind of painkiller in it that was a little bit stronger, supposedly, than what you buy on the counter. But it didn't work. I could take it and I still hurt. So I finally quit getting that prescription painkiller or ibuprofen, and I started buying just regular ibuprofen off the counter, and it worked better than the prescription stuff did. I mean, I had to pay for it, but hey, it worked. So that's what I cared about. That's right, not every pain medication will take care of every pain. Well, since I lost my chiropractor, since he's no longer with us here anywhere around here, I don't have him to go to. I don't go to chiropractors anymore because I don't know of a good one to go to since he left. But thank goodness I learned enough. I went to him enough and learned enough that I'm able to basically treat myself at home, doing what he told me to do over the years. So that's what I do. Yeah, it seemed like the ibuprofen works better for me. It's ibuprofen or what is the other painkiller? It's not Tylenol. And I can't think of the name of it right now, but it's another aspirin type painkiller. Naproxen, I don't know what that is. I don't think I've ever used it. Yeah. I think the people in the olden days, Bloomin', I think they relied mostly on White Lightning, homemade whiskey. I think that was basically their painkiller back in those days. Yeah, moonshine. Yeah, I've never tried the other. I just use ibuprofen because the ibuprofen is a um, anti-inflammatory as well. So if I'm having pain, that means it's inflamed. So the ibuprofen helps with the pain and it gets rid of the inflammation. So that's why I stick with ibuprofen. Aleve, I don't think I've ever even taken Aleve. And you know, it's funny, Pinky, you should mention that the Aleve would make you bleed. Because I was going to the allergy doctor for a long time. And they wrote a prescription for some allergy pills for me to take. They worked the first day that I took them. It kind of cleared up my allergy. But by the third day, I was coughing up blood. I mean, I was literally coughing up clots of blood from that allergy medication. I immediately quit taking the pills. And do you know what? By the next day, the bleeding stopped. So I knew for sure it was those pills. And I had never coughed up blood in my life before. I went into the doctor and I told him, I said, those pills you gave me caused me to start coughing up blood. Oh, I don't think that was the allergy pills, he said, because that's not one of the side effects to that allergy pill. I said, well, I don't know if it was the side effect of that allergy pill to anyone else, but that's the side effect that I had to that allergy pill. And I said, I know when I first took it, I started coughing up blood. I quit taking it, the blood stopped. That's all the proof I need to know that it was that allergy pill. So I quit taking them, and I never have taken them since. Yeah, just because a doctor gives you something doesn't mean that's what you need to take, because you don't know how your body's going to react to that medication. Now, someone else could have taken that same allergy pill and it might not have bothered them at all. It might have cleared their allergies up, no problem. But with me, there was something in it that caused me to start coughing up blood. Yeah, that's terrifying when all of a sudden you start coughing, you feel a lump in your throat, and the next thing you know, you've got a big clot of blood coming out in your Kleenex because you just coughed up that blood. That was scary. And I knew it had to be that pill because that was the only thing that I had taken or eaten different than what I had always done before. So I take my own allergy pills now. I take a Benadryl every day and I take a Zyrtec every day. Because if I take the Benadryl without the Zyrtec, I have so much drainage. I'm gagging and coughing all day. My eyes are running. I mean, it's terrible. And if I take the um, Zyrtec without taking the Benadryl, I have all these other symptoms come up. So I need the combination of both of those pills to keep my allergies halfway at bay. And I probably should have been put on allergy shots years ago, but they never did. And by the time I did go to an allergy doctor in Fort Worth, he said, well, he said, if you were younger, he said, I might consider putting you on shots. But he said, since you've dealt with this all your life and you made it this far, he said, I'm not going to be the one that puts you on a regular routine of allergy shots. And I'm kind of glad he didn't. Because then I'd have to worry about going in and getting shots daily or weekly or however often they give them to you. I know it scared me to death the first when I did it. I mean, I'd never coughed up blood in my whole life before. And to take an allergy pill to clear up your allergies and it cause you to start coughing up blood, that is not good. You could, so to speak, drown in your own blood. Because it was definitely filling my lungs up with blood. Yeah, like I said, your DNA, your physical buildup, everything about your body determines what medications you can take and what you cannot take. Like I said, some people could have took that allergy pill and it worked great for them. They'd have no side effects at all, no problem. But with me, that was not the case. And I'm not taking anything that's going to make me cough up blood. I felt like I was suffocating because, I'd go to breathe and I'd feel heavy down in my chest. And then all of a sudden I started coughing and you could feel it was like a lump in your throat. And I kept coughing and gagging and coughing. And finally I had this big clot of blood come up. And I said, no, I'm not taking any more of that stuff. So you got to be careful. You got to look out for yourself, get your second opinions. If you're given a prescription, notice any difference in anything that happens after you start taking that prescription, because you don't know if your body can tolerate that medication or not. Anything different happens, you have symptoms, stop taking it. Let your doctor know. Make him give you something else, or don't even take it at all. Yeah, I don't take aspirin. Well, I do too. I take a 80 milligram low dose aspirin every day. And the reason I take that is it helps keep your blood thinner, keeps it from clotting up. It keeps it from, because when your blood gets thick and you start getting the plaque build up and all that, you end up with having strokes, you end up with high blood pressure, you end up with a lot of problems. So one of my friends years and years ago had went to the doctor and they had treated her, nothing helped. And finally they just told her to go home and take an 80 milligram bare aspirin every day and see what happens. She started taking it and that took care of the problem. Her blood pressure lowered. She didn't have any more problems with her blood after that. And when she told me that, I started taking one too. And it's worked for me. I mean, like I said, it may not work for everyone, but it works for me. So I'll continue taking it until it doesn't work anymore. Well, I stop it if I know I've got to go in for surgeries or anything like that. They don't want you to take any aspirin for at least 24 hours or more before surgery. I'll quit taking it then. But as soon as my surgery's over and I'm home, I start taking it again. Yeah, if you're having bleeding and problems, you don't definitely do not need to take aspirin. But it's been working for me, that 80 milligram. And my doctor knows that I take it because he's got a list of everything that I take at home. My vitamins, my allergy medicines, the 80 milligram aspirin. Yeah, I wish I could lose a couple of pounds. I don't have the willpower anymore to do that. Like I said, I gained more weight trying to diet and stay away from sugar and stay away from desserts and stay away from all this food than I ever did by eating it all. So I've just got to the point where the heck with it. Yeah, if you're having any bleeding, you shouldn't be taking the aspirin. I wouldn't think. Because aspirin is a natural blood thinner, for one. That's the reason they recommend the 80 milligram low dose aspirin to take daily. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Why is she taking the aspirin in the first place? Was it for your blood or cholesterol or anything like that? Thank you, Gladys. I don't feel like I look good. I feel like I look terrible this morning. The light's not very good in here for one. Gotta drink my coffee. It's getting cold. Your doctor gives you the aspirin? What is he giving it to you for? What are you taking? What is the doctor giving you the aspirin for? Do you know? I see your blue eyes. I've never taken a BC powder in my life. I did take a Alka-Seltzer one time when I was 13. My aunt and uncle in New York, they lived on Long Island, just had a baby, my cousin. And they asked my mom if they could pay to have me fly to New York to spend the summer with them to help look after their little infant, because they knew I worked real well with kids. I was always mature for my age. So I went up there. Well, the flight up there made me sicker than a dog. I threw up on the plane. I threw up after I got there. And she fixed me an Alka-Seltzer, a glass of Alka-Seltzer, and told me to drink it and it would settle my stomach. Oh my God. I drank about half of that glass of Alka-Seltzer, and it wasn't 2 seconds before I threw it all up. Everything came up out of my stomach. But I was always just really afraid of heights. And to be in that airplane at 13 years of age terrified me. It doesn't bother me today. I mean, I can fly to North Carolina or anywhere I want to go, and it really doesn't bother me anymore. The people scare me more than the plane ride does. With all the terrorists out there and everything. I've got to a place where I don't want to fly because I'm afraid I'll get on one of these flights that crashes, or get on a flight going somewhere that one of these terrorists is on board and he's going to kill himself just to kill everybody else. And I said, I'll drive. I'll run into, I feel like less problems if I just drive where I'm going. And I always wanted to go to Italy because I knew that's where my great grandparents were from. My granddad was from Italy. And I always would love, said if I could ever go out of the country, that would be one of my first places to go, because I'd love to go look up the towns where my extended family lived. My ancestors from Italy lived. I said, to me, that would be a real neat thing to go do, to see where they lived. But I said, with my fear of flying and the terrorists out there, I'll never make it to Italy. And I can't, I'm not going on a cruise ship either. Because to me, I'd freak out. I'd get out in the middle of the ocean. I could look out around that ship, see nothing but water. No way. I could not handle that. We got TTT Sharon in here. Good morning. Yeah, I found sometimes with my injuries, I can ache a little bit, or like especially when I first get up in the morning. But once I'm up moving around, I'm not hurting anymore. It's usually when I sit down and relax and all my muscles relax is when the pain hits, just really kicks in. But so far, the ibuprofen has worked. Yeah, I don't tell people to do anything. I just tell them what has worked for me. And in the case of her bleeding, taking aspirin, my only advice to her is to stop taking that aspirin and see what happens. If she stops bleeding after that, then she knows the aspirin is what's causing it. And I definitely wouldn't take it anymore. Oh, you did a lot of your training online? I thought about continuing my college education by taking online classes, but I never really actually did it. Now, I have two associate degrees, and I was going to go online just to finish and get enough classes behind me to get the actual bachelor's degree, but I never did it. I checked into a few schools of what it cost to do it online, and the cheapest school university that I could find that had online classes was over $20,000. And at the time, I didn't have that much money, and I definitely was not in a situation to where I could borrow that much money to pay for online classes. So I never did take them. I've got a nephew that had his bachelor's degree before most of his friends were even out of high school, because he was so intelligent he skipped classes about every other year. And he was already taking college classes. I mean, yeah, college classes when he should have still been in high school. And he ended up being a professor at the New York University, or University of New York. And that's where he's still teaching. He's a professor there of English. And he said it was so funny the first week, or especially the first day that he was in class. He said he was there writing something on the blackboard, and at the time he had really long hair. He had on a pair of blue jeans and a t-shirt, like most kids his age wore. And all the students came in to the class. And he said when he turned around, you could tell by looking at the students, they were all older than him. And they all sat down and passed the time for the class to start. The students started asking him, well, where's the teacher? Where's the professor? And he said, I had to laugh because I told him, I said, I'm here. He tried to make them understand that I'm your professor, I'm your teacher. And they didn't believe him at first because he was so young. But then finally they realized, hey, yeah, this is our professor. He's going to be our teacher. But after he started teaching, they realized he knew what he was talking about. So they didn't mind having a young professor in their class. My sister's door dashing Father's Day dinner today. Well, that's good. Years ago we couldn't do something like that, but today you can, so that's neat. Oh, you go right ahead, Pinky. Don't mind. Just sit back and rest your eyes. We don't mind a bit. You know, it's funny you experience that, Blooming, because I never had to wear glasses until I was in college. I didn't take my classes online. I actually went to the school, but I stayed on the computer so much because I majored in computer science, computer programming, and software. So I spent all my time in class on the computer. And it was during that time that I had started having problems with my eyes. And when I went in and got my eyes checked is when I got my first set of glasses. So I was almost 30 years old before I had to start wearing glasses. I don't wear them now because I've had surgery on my eyes and I don't need to wear glasses anymore at all. And you know, I have, like I said earlier, when I first started my live, I have tried and tried and tried to get the setting on the live to start it with the chat replay turned on. I've even went in my computer before I even went live and made sure the setting was on chat replay and saved it. And still, I have not been able to get that chat replay to work. It did the very first live that I did, but for some reason it's gotten turned off, and now I can't get it back on, and I can't get the chat replay to play on my replays of my live videos. And I don't know what to do about that. It's about to drive me nuts. Yes, I did. I had cataracts on my eyes, and it got so bad. My eyes went from having glasses for reading. Later, it switched, and I needed glasses for distance. And then later, they got so bad that my doctor told me, she said, this time you need surgery. Glasses are not going to help. And it scared me because, you know, I was terrified of anybody messing with my eyes. And I went in for that first surgery on one eye, and it went so well, I felt like a fool even being worried about it. And then I waited the month you gotta wait, and then I went in and had surgery on the second eye. And now I don't need glasses at all, which I'm so happy for because I didn't want to wear glasses. I mean, it probably would help cover up my puffy eyes now, but I'm kind of glad I don't have to wear them. Gladys says, I saw your video a little while ago. And Jody says, I put music to one of them. Have no idea how. Yeah, sometimes computers, I don't know. I don't understand how I got that chat replay on and it recorded it so people could view the live and see the chat replay when I can't get it turned back on now. I mean, it's beyond me. I've done everything I know to do to get it turned on. It's like we got 20 people in chat. Where's all the thumbs up? I got 9 thumbs up over here. Y'all, I'll be right back. I'm back, y'all. Sorry about that. I was looking for little Buddy. I thought he might be outside because I fed him a little earlier. He came through last night and I heard cats outside, and they sounded like they were in a fight. And I know there was another cat out here yesterday. It was a kind of black and grayish tabby color, like Buddy, but a different color. He just didn't have any white on him. But I heard the cats out there fighting last night, right on the almost on the sidewalk. So I opened the door and little Buddy jumps up on the porch and he comes in the door. And I said, "Well, you can come on in." I said, "I don't want you to get hurt," because I knew there was another cat out there trying to fight with him. So I brought him on in the house, and he stayed for a while. He ate a little bit, and he laid down in the kitchen floor while I was sitting here at the computer, and just relaxed a little bit. And then later on, he goes to the door, and he did just like my previous cat did, Crybaby. He got up on his hind legs and he put his paws up on the doorknob like he wanted to go out. So I said, "Well, you want to go back out?" So I went to the door and I opened the door, and that's what he wanted. He wanted to go back outside. And I said, "Well, you can go back out. I'm not trying to keep you in the house. I just let him come in because he did on his own to get away from that other cat." And I said, hopefully that cat was gone by the time he went back outside. You were just going to ask me about him? Yeah, he was hanging around in the garden with me yesterday when I was watering plants and when I was putting up the shade cloth. And then he was here this earlier because I gave him his breakfast. He'll either eat and get on the swing and take a nap, or he'll eat and then he starts just kind of walking around the neighborhood, or he goes back next door, where he's from. I don't know, but sometimes he doesn't hang around unless I'm outside. I don't really like the way I've got my tripod set up here. I don't think that's the way I had it set up the last time. Let me see. See if I can change it without disconnecting everything. I forgot I had it set up different the last time so I could read the chat and not be looking away from the camera. I think that might be a little bit better. Oh, my hair is just terrible this morning. Probably should have just pulled it up. Bloomin' says, "I'm always being funny, runs in the family. I have cousins that make me laugh till my stomach hurts." Oh, you saw him in the video today, Gladys? That's good. You have a blessed day as well, Jody. We'll catch you on the next one. Oh, it's frizzy. It's pretty frizzy this morning. Your dad was always being funny. Yeah, laughter is the best medicine. If you feel bad, just get out there and laugh about something. If y'all have anything better to do, somewhere to be, or something to do this morning, it's Father's Day. I understand. You don't have to stay on this video. Just feel free to go and do whatever you got to do. When I was growing up, people used to say I had blueberry eyes. We had blueberry fields all around where I'm from, and I used to, help pick blueberries. And we had really big blueberries, and they were like a dusty blue color, and that's kind of the color of my eyes. So everybody used to say that I had blueberry eyes because they were the color of those blueberries that we were always picking. And I was eating most of the time as a kid. Yeah, they're blue. Blue as blue can be. My whole family's got blue eyes. Ah, blueberry eyes. Yeah, when you buy blueberries in the store out here, they're a darker blue and the blueberries are smaller. They don't have that powdery blue color to the outside. But back home, they grow really big. And they're a lighter blue, but they look powdery, kind of like a powder blue. Really pretty and good, too. You have envy green eyes blooming. Well, green is pretty too. My mom had hazel eyes. That was like I guess half blue, half green. I don't know what they call them, but they said hazel eyes is what the color was. But the rest of my family all had blue eyes. Your son that passed away had ice blue eyes. Ooh. Bet he was a good looker. TT Sharon says, wild blueberries. Wild blueberries are so good. But we had blueberry farms, believe it or not, in North Carolina where I'm from. So as a kid, when you're out of school in the summer, you had plenty of jobs around that you could pick up money, spending money. I used to work in the blueberry fields picking blueberries, strawberries, flowers. I've worked in the tobacco fields. I've worked in corn fields picking corn or suckering corn. It was fun to me because we had a lot of black people in that area, and they would work in the fields, and they'd start singing, and they'd keep you happy and, you know, keep your spirit up the whole day when you're working, just listening to them sing. Blooming, I used to eat more than I put in my bucket, so I didn't make much money picking blueberries because I love blueberries. Strawberries were almost the same way. You get paid by the pint that you picked, the little square pint cup that they put them in. After you turned them in of what you picked that day in a bucket, they'd either weigh it out or somehow they measured it, and they paid you for how much you picked. I mean, I made some money, but I never would get rich doing it because I love to eat the strawberries and blueberries too. I know what you meant, Bloomin'. We got 22. I'm going to get me a bottle of water. Oh, that's good. Cold water. My first husband had brown eyes. He was a twin. Him and his sister both had brown eyes, but other than that, they didn't look alike at all. She was 5'2" and he was all like 6'1", but they did have brown eyes. My daughter does it. She has blue eyes, but her dad had brown eyes. But I've always heard that blue eyes were dominant. I don't know if that's true or not. TTT says my hair is below my waist. That's pretty long. I had mine way down below my waist one time when I was working in Fort Worth. And I remember sitting at the desk chair and I would literally sit on my hair. It made it bad for when you wanted to turn one side to the other. You know, you were pinned down by your hair. So I would start pulling it back or up or fixing it so I didn't sit on it all day. Yeah, it seemed like I do everything at the spur of the moment, or I would have fixed myself up a little more or something to do a live this morning, but I said, oh, the heck with it. Brown is dominant. That's weird because all my life I've heard that blue was dominant. But you know what? Their older sister, Janie, she had blue eyes. But the twins, my husband and his sister, had brown eyes. I mean, they were so brown they were black almost. But his dad, their dad had blue eyes. Their mom had brown eyes. So blue is the least dominant of all the colors. Huh, that's strange. I've not done research on that, so I just have to take people's word for it. And like I said, my mom, hers weren't really blue. They were hazel, like a hazel color. I don't know. Maybe sometime this coming week I'll make that strawberry cheesecake. Or it probably won't have strawberries on it. I think I bought cherries. I think I got some cherry pie filling that I was going to use in it. Because I've already bought the stuff to make it. I just haven't made it yet. I can't make a banana pudding one day and a strawberry cheesecake the next. Hey, I got to eat this stuff. I look like a Goodyear blimp. I have to kind of spread those desserts out a little bit. Unless I've got somebody here to help me eat them. Yours are green with brown spots. Well, do they call that hazel? Or what do they call that when it's kind of a brownish green? That's hazel, isn't it? I don't know. I don't think he would even eat banana pudding. I don't think little buddy would eat cheesecake. I can give him a piece of fried chicken and he almost turns his nose up at it. So evidently he's always been fed cat food. He's not been fed like chicken and beef and stuff off the table. Because he doesn't seem to care for that when I give it to him. Now, he loves tuna fish. You know, I save some of the tuna fish water and maybe a few pieces of the tuna fish when I open a can, and I make sure he gets it, and he loves that. But as far as beef or chicken, anything else, he doesn't eat very much of it. I've tried giving it to him. He just doesn't care for it. So I figured it was because he's always been fed either tuna fish or cat food. Or cat food that had a lot of fish in it, you know. You eat it and then you throw up after, blooming. Yeah, I sent a message to my son because I knew he would look at the video of me making that banana pudding. And I said, Chad, I just made a banana pudding. I wish you were here to help me eat it. I should have waited probably and cooked it this weekend and took it over there to him today, and he could have helped me eat it for Father's Day, even though he's not my father. But then he told me he was supposed to get his new car this coming week. He had to order it, but it's supposed to come in this week. And I said, well, next weekend is when I need to get together because I want to ride in his new car. Well, it was strange when before he was born, my ex-husband, who was my husband at the time, you know, Chad's dad, he wanted to name him after that actor, Chad Everett. And we didn't really argue about it. We kind of disagreed about it. I said, well, I like the name Chad, but I don't like the Everett. Because I didn't like the actor Chad Everett for some reason. I didn't have anything against him. I just wasn't crazy over him. And I really didn't want to name my son, you know, his name. So I said, well, we'll keep the Chad. But I said, I'm going to replace Everett with David. So we named him Chad David Hauser. So that's my son's name. The Chad came after Chad Everett, the actor. Gladys, you love tuna fish when you ran out of it? Yeah, I love it too, but I don't usually keep a whole lot of it. I might buy 1 or 2 cans a month when I go buy groceries. Because every once in a while I might like to make a tuna pasta salad, or I just like to make a tuna salad sandwich, you know. I like tuna salad. And when I was on a diet years ago, I started buying tuna fish packed in water instead of oil. I'd eat it right out of the can. And I liked it like that, but I love fish, so yeah, I'd get hungry during the day. I'd open a can of tuna fish that was packed in water, and I'd sit there and eat tuna fish right out of the can. Oh, Bloomin', you don't like eggs? I love eggs. I could eat eggs every day, especially scrambled and mixed in a bunch of grits and butter, salt and pepper. Maybe break up some bacon and sausage in that. Mix it all up. That is good eating right there. I love it. And that is my breakfast a lot of mornings when I want to cook the bacon and the sausage. Oh, you love eggs, you just can't stand the smell? I never really noticed that I smell the eggs. Maybe because I got so much else cooking when I fix eggs that I don't really notice the smell of them. Because I love boiled eggs, I love fried eggs, I love scrambled eggs. Can't use them in potato salad because their smell stands out. I've never noticed that, but like I said, I like eggs, so I've never noticed the smell of them. Maybe my brain got scrambled, maybe so. Yeah, there's many a morning that when I was watching Coffee with Steven, he'd fix his grits and eggs and put it all in a bowl, and that's the way I eat them. I thought I was the only one that ate them that way, but I see Steven eats them that way too. A lot of mornings I'd be sitting there eating my scrambled eggs, bacon, and grits in a bowl right along with him. What am I eating for dinner tonight? I don't even know. I haven't even decided what I want for dinner tonight. I haven't even thought about it. I don't know. Said, oh my gosh, it never used to bother me. I'm wondering if they're feeding chickens something that makes them smell so bad. I have no idea, Bloomin'. I don't know what these producers are feeding their chickens to make them produce eggs. You think it could be just the chickens in your area, what they feed them? Well, have a good day, TTT, Sharon. You have a blessed day today. And I probably need to soon think about ending the live. We've been on here quite a while. I don't want to wear everybody out on my lives every day. Well, how many grandbabies do you have? She may be gone already. I've only got one grandchild, and she turned 20, I think 21, June 13th. $14 grandbabies. Oh, or are you talking about chickens? Homemade feed I cook for them every morning. You got to be talking about chickens, not just one grandchild. That's all I got is just one. My granddaughter, Alexander, that just turned 21. I think it's 21. Pretty sure it's 21. I can't keep my years straight. Oh, you got 10 grandbabies and one great grandbaby. You got a house full when they come to visit. And Pinky says, I got 13 and one great grand. That's a lot of grandbabies. Or yes, chickens. I'm not sure sometimes if you're talking about grandbabies or chickens. But I'm assuming it's 13 grandkids with one great grandkid, grandbaby. Bloomin' has 6 grandbabies and 2 great grandbabies. Well, that's good. I mean, that's a good amount. I would have loved to have had more grandchildren, but my daughter never has had children. Her and her husband just never have. Rick, he would have filled the house up with grandbabies for me, but my daughter wasn't keen on having babies, so. I've only got one, that's Alexandra. Pinky says I've got 14 chickens and 13 grandchildren, one great grandchild. Well, you got two houses full. You got a chicken house full and a house full of grandbabies. My son sent me pictures of that new chicken coop they had put up at their place, and the uh, loafing barn, as he calls it, for the cows and horses. Spoiled animals. I mean, that chicken house, I could live in it. They even have, and it reminded me of the little chicken picnic table that Stephen built. The guy that delivered the chicken coop for him and set it all up gave him a free chicken picnic table. So they got a chicken picnic table inside their brand new chicken coop, and I could live in that chicken coop. That's how nice it is. Oh, we got Tricia Whistler in here this morning. Good morning, Tricia. How are you doing this morning? He lives in Hillsboro. It's about an hour and a half drive from where I live. Yeah. But his chicken coop is a metal building that they built, or they bought it prefab and they brought it in pieces or sections. The company did that they bought it from, and then set it up on their property. But it's nice. It's got all the laying boxes already in it, pre-built. It's got the roosts built in it for the chicken to roost on. It's got windows in it. I said, they are going to have some spoiled chickens. They're high society chickens to live in that chicken coop. Yeah, my son lives south of me. My daughter lives kind of northwest of me. So they went in opposite directions when they left. Oh, there's Wilkes County boy. For some reason, he's not in as... Well, I can't get it to open up. Huh. Oh well. That's crazy. I can't get the... because his name's not highlighted. Oh well, I'll have to fix it later. Yeah, all is well this morning. I just thought I had lost the live that I did yesterday, because when I looked on my list of lives on my phone this morning, it wasn't there. It was gone. But everybody else said it was still there because they had watched it. So, I don't know. I have to recheck. I thought it had disappeared. I know I've got two videos that I posted. One that I posted late last night, and one that I posted after midnight because it took that long to get the thing uploaded. And in the midst of doing all that, on my end, the live that I had done yesterday disappeared. I'm hoping it's still there, but I'm not sure it is. Oh, Gladys, you don't live in a too nice area? A lot of theft going on there? Yeah, I can't wait to see what Steven's going to build on his property. He's got all those animals, the chickens and the ducks and the goats and all of those animals that he's got to move over there eventually. And I know when he does that, Danny and Tammy are going to wonder what's going on because everything's going to get a lot quieter. They're not going to have quite as many roosters crowing every day. I mean, they could still probably hear them from where Steven's property is, but not like it is when they're right in the backyard. Oh, your neighborhood's gone downhill? Well, Wilkes County boy, you probably got you some plans for Father's Day today, don't you? Got anything special going on to celebrate Father's Day? Yeah, I was wondering that too. I think Wilkes County boy is the only male in my chat, but that's okay. Well, thank you, Wilkes County boy. I haven't done anything to it. It's just like it was when I got up, because I didn't plan on doing this, but decided at the last minute to do it. I know. I can't wait to see what he's going to build over there. I know from what I've heard him say, he's going to build a really big house, but I can't wait to see what he's going to put there. Yep. Happy Father's Day, Wilkes County boy. Nobody bothers me with light. You're welcome, Wilkes County boy. My daughter lives in Vista Ranch. It's a brand new subdivision that started not too many years ago. In fact, it was starting the year that they built a house in there. But it's a real ritzy neighborhood. It's all like $500,000 homes and higher. And they have at least 1 acre lot to each house. And some people buy 2 acres. So they own property from this street all the way through to the back street behind them. My daughter and her husband just bought the 1 acre that their house is on. But it's a beautiful home. And I said, that is a big house for just 2 people to be in. I mean, they have a movie theater upstairs. You walk in and it looks just like a movie theater. Big screen, reclining seats. It's really nice. And then you step out of the movie theater and you're in their own pool room. They got a big pool table. They have a bathroom upstairs. And then downstairs they have 3 bedrooms, living room, kitchen area. They've got a breakfast nook. They've got an office. They've got, is it 2 or 3 bathrooms downstairs? Because there's one bathroom that the door opens to outside. So you can go in the bathroom from outside in the yard if you want to without coming in the house. And then they've got the bathroom inside the house downstairs. Yeah, I couldn't even pay the taxes on a house like that, so I don't worry about it. But it is nice. It's nice that they can afford that. Hi, Judy Kirk from Florida. How are you today? And Mardell Lamb has just shown up. Judy Kirk. Glad to have you. We've been on here for 2 hours already. But it seems like I've still got people coming in, so I don't want to just let people come in and then immediately end the live. So I guess I can stay in here a little while longer. Oh, that's so sad, Wilkes County boy. I'm so sorry to hear that your dad was killed in a car crash when you were 8 years old. How terrible. Well, you didn't miss a whole lot. I mean, I was just giving my condolences to the Hodges, for losing their family member, Colton. I mean, I was watching Stephen's live when Tammy got the news yesterday. And then I watched Tammy's update on all of it last night before I went to bed when I found out that Colton didn't make it. I mean, that was heartbreaking. I can't imagine losing a child that young in the family. I mean, it's bad to lose anybody, but especially a young child. And it's so sad because every Father's Day now, Colton's dad is going to have that on his mind. You never get over stuff like that. I mean, you can put it in its place and deal with it, but it's always there. He'll never get over losing his son. Yeah, I was fortunate enough to have my dad all the years. I mean, he died, later in life. But I can't imagine losing my dad when I was 8. I mean, my dad was my world. I was the only girl out of 5 brothers, so I was daddy's little girl. Yeah, I couldn't imagine losing my dad when I was 8. Yeah, it's all okay. Just miss him. I know you miss him. All those years you could have spent doing things with your dad and that were gone. I mean, my dad was in the Navy. He was career Navy. So, things could have happened to him any time. I mean, he was in a dangerous situation because he was in the Navy back during the World War II with Pearl Harbor and all that stuff going on. And he was on the USS North Carolina that guarded the Independence aircraft carrier that did a lot of fighting over there. So, I mean, he could have been easily, his life been taken then. But he wasn't, and I thank God that he was with us for many, many years. Mardell, you were 18 months old when your dad passed? He was only 31. Oh my God, that's so young. And you were 18 months old. You probably don't even remember your dad. I mean, I don't think I can remember anything when I was 18 months old. So you've had a void in your life all these years because you didn't have your dad there. Hmm. Both of my parents are gone now too, but they did leave. They lived a long, healthy, long life. They passed away about the time you'd expect things like that to happen. I mean, I would have liked it if they'd have lived longer, but you just never know in this life. I miss my parents. And like I said, my mom was 86 when she died. My dad he died first, and he was about that age when he died. But yeah, I miss both of them terribly. Because going home on vacation is not what it was. I used to go home and see my mom and dad on vacation every year. And now when I go home, I see my brothers, my sister-in-laws, my nieces and nephews, my aunts and uncles that are still alive, but I don't see my mom and dad, so it's different. And a lot of my family have moved out of my hometown, so a lot of them I don't get to see even though I go back to North Carolina. Yeah, I can imagine it is hard to grow up without one of your parents. Yeah, if you have a good stepdad, that's good because you hear of all these horror stories about what step parents do to their stepchildren. It's unreal. Well, that's good that you can get to see them that much, Pinky. I wish I could just go down the street and see my family. My closest family's 1,200 miles away. I do have a brother in Tucson, Arizona, but where I live in Texas and where he lives in Arizona, it's as far to drive to his house as it would be for me to drive from my house to North Carolina. So I've never been to Arizona. I remember the first time I told him, I said, well, one time we need to plan a vacation together and we can all drive together and take turns driving. Because I figured, well, he's in Tucson, Arizona. He'd have to come through Texas to drive to North Carolina. But he said, do you realize that I'm as far away from your house in Texas as you are from North Carolina to our hometown? And I didn't realize it was that far, but it is. Because I'm about middleway Texas, and Texas is a big state. So by the time you drive to the border, the state line, to get into Arizona, you've already driven 600 miles or more. And then it would be that far again to drive on to where he lives in Arizona. So when he goes home, he flies. And I used to do that too. I used to fly home. But the last few times that I went home, I've driven. I bet I drank 4 or 5 of those bottles of water yesterday because it was so hot in the yard. I sweated so much. I was down in bottles of water like crazy. Pinky said my second home is the graveyard. Well, I'd visit the graveyard more, a lot often or often if I could, but where my mom and dad's buried's 1,200-mile drive from where I live, so I'm lucky if I get to visit the grave whenever I go home and visit the rest of the family. I know it's hot, and I worked until I get pretty hot and I get all wet. You know, I sweat something terrible. So I take a lot of breaks. I'll quit work. I'll come in the house and cool off, drink water, and then I'll go back out and do a little bit more. But yeah, I take breaks off and on, so I don't just stay out there. The longest I stayed out there was when I was doing the videos in the yard yesterday. And I tell you, when I was out there watering the plants with that insecticide, I didn't know if I was going to make it to the end. I almost stopped the video several times because I was not only getting tired, but it was hot. But I finally got it done. And I said, I know there might be one or two plants still that need it, but they'll have to wait. Yeah, I live a lot in my yard, in my garden, messing around with my plants, my vegetable plants and my rose bushes and all that stuff. That's what you're talking about, Pinky, my video from yesterday. Yeah, it was hot. I don't know if you could tell in the video the sweat that was on me, but it was getting in my eyes so bad I had to keep wiping my eyes because I couldn't see what I was doing. And finally, my clothes got so wet with perspiration, it was actually cooling me off. Yeah, it keeps me out of trouble, Mardell. I'm out busy in my yard, so I'm not bothering anybody. Nobody's bothering me. But you know, it does your body good to sweat. You get all those impurities out of your system. So yeah, anybody needs to sweat. I just am very careful that I don't overheat out there because I don't want to pass out in the yard. Well, it looks like we're shooting for 3 hours because we've already been on here 2 hours already. So I don't know. You know, I thought about that several times, Wilkes County boy, because I do have a headband, and I've got one of those that have those beads in it that you soak the thing in water, and the beads will absorb the water, and that helps you stay cooler. It's almost like having ice in the headband. But I never did take the time to come in and get it. But I have bandanas, and sometimes I do put those on just to catch a lot of the sweat that falls down my face to keep it out of my eyes. But I didn't stop long enough to come in and get it. So I didn't wear one. Maybe the next time I'll get out there, I'll think about putting it on first before I go out. Okay, Mardell, well, I'm glad you stopped by and said hello because we're going to get off the live in just a minute because we've already been on here for 2 hours and I don't know how much longer. So I don't want it to go on too long. Well, thank you, Gladys. Well, y'all, I know I've got still 22 watching, and you know, like I said, that's a good amount of people showing up when I didn't schedule this. I did it at the last minute. But we're going to have to end the video because I don't want to keep people all day. I know you got things to do. It is a Father's Day, so I know you might have relatives to visit or places to go, maybe going out to lunch or something. So I want to wish all of you a good day. Have a fantastic day. Spend it with some of your family members if you get a chance to. Tell everybody to please like, share, and subscribe to my video. And we'll get together on my next one. So I'm going to say bye for now. Bye, y'all.